The Philippine archipelago, with its myriad of islands, has been a crucible of cultural and spiritual practices long before the Spanish galleons painted the horizon. Each island, with its unique ecological identity, cradled a diversity of belief systems, governed by nature's rhythms and venerations for ancestral spirits known as Anido. These ancient beliefs wove an elaborate tapestry that explained everything from the movement of stars to the whisper of winds. Amid these mountains, tribal communities like the Ifugao and the Tagbanua have lived in harmony with a landscape that is both their custodian and muse, interpreting its signals through rituals and prayer. This spiritual connection to the land formed the backbone of their cultural identity, shaping rituals that are both communal and deeply personal. However, the arrival of outsiders armed with crosses and swords began a seismic shift in this spiritual landscape. This transformation is not merely a historical footnote. It continues to echo across generations, influencing how communities relate to their past and envision their future. In the 16th century, the Spanish colonization of the Philippines introduced a wave of religious conversion that was both sweeping and systematic. Missions sprouted like wildfire, igniting a cultural conflagration in which indigenous beliefs were either assimilated or stifled. Churches rose where ritual sites once stood, and the native practices were deemed pagan and backward, fringe elements that needed erasing for the sake of souls. Amidst this cultural suppression, the resilience of indigenous practices was put to a severe test. Many elders buried their rituals in the shadows, passing them secretly to select descendants to preserve the essence of their identity. It was a time of silent resistance. A muted battle lay deep within the spiritual undercurrents of the archipelago. The ramifications of this cultural imposition are vast and deep. It reshaped the spiritual identity of the nation, often casting a shadow that obscured the original beliefs of its people. Despite the centuries of suppression, the indigenous spirit of the Philippines refused to vanish entirely. Deep in the heart of the archipelago's remote areas, some communities continued their ancestors' traditions, safeguarding them through the ages. These aren't mere acts of remembrance, but vibrant, living practices that are integral to the community's way of life. In these spaces, elders perform rituals that honor the cycles of life and death, harvest and renewal, practices that have been transmitted orally across generations. The rekindling of these rituals not only preserves ancient wisdom, but also reinstates a form of ecological and spiritual balance, emphasizing a symbiotic relationship with the environment. From whispered ancestral prayers to elaborate community feasts, these rituals serve as a bridge connecting present communities with their historical and spiritual roots, thus carrying immense importance in the rejuvenation of indigenous spirituality. The resurgence of indigenous beliefs is not simply about the preservation of spiritual practices, but the affirmation of a national identity. In a country like the Philippines, where colonial influences have woven so deeply into the societal fabric, rediscovering and embracing pre-colonial spiritual systems is both an act of cultural assertion and self-discovery. Engaging with these ancient traditions allows communities, especially the youth, to explore aspects of their identity that were once suppressed or lost. These explorations are not mere historical exercises. They are vibrant, dynamic forays into the power of cultural narratives that have survived despite centuries of colonial pressure. This identity reclamation also promotes a broader acceptance and recognition of the nation's diverse spiritual heritage, fostering an environment of respect and unity among its various ethnic groups. Voices of revival, community leaders, and activists. Driving the resurgence of these ancient belief systems are passionate individuals, elders, scholars, and activists that go the distance to advocate for and rehabilitate these traditions. Their efforts often meld research, education, and activism, forming a robust foundation for the revival. Individuals like Victoria Tali-Corpuz, an indigenous leader from the Kankanai Igorot people, have played critical roles in this regard. They work tirelessly to document endangered rituals, advocate for indigenous rights at national and international levels, and educate both indigenous and non-indigenous populations about the importance of these ancient practices. Their voices have become pivotal in the broader dialogue surrounding cultural preservation and national identity. Their leadership is complemented by grassroots movements and nonprofit organizations that strive to integrate these spiritual practices into broader cultural and educational programs. These collective efforts not only reinforce the spiritual and cultural fabric of Indigenous communities, but also position them as fundamental elements of the national narrative. Challenges in the path of reclamation. Despite the progress, the path to fully reclaim and reintegrate Indigenous beliefs into the mainstream of Philippine society is fraught with challenges. Modernity, globalization, and continued external religious influences pose constant threats to these delicate revival efforts. Issues such as land rights disputes, environmental degradation, and the commercialization of cultural practices threaten the physical and spiritual spaces necessary for these traditions to thrive. Moreover, the younger generation's drift towards urban centers in pursuit of modern livelihoods often leads to a disconnect from their ancestral roots. Addressing these challenges requires innovative approaches that intertwine traditional wisdom with modern realities, creating sustainable models for cultural preservation that are relevant in today's globalized world. Implications on national identity and unity. The revival of Indigenous beliefs in the Philippines is more than a mere reclamation of suppressed spiritual practices. It is a potent reminder of the country's diverse and layered history. This resurgence has significant implications for national unity and identity, serving as a bridge across the archipelago's manifold cultural rifts. Acknowledging and integrating these ancient traditions into the national consciousness fosters a sense of shared heritage and mutual respect among the Philippines' diverse ethnic groups. It stands as a bulwark against the forces of fragmentation and serves as a unifying element, offering a shared narrative that all Filipinos can claim and celebrate. Moreover, national recognition of these practices can also shape the Philippines' image on the international stage, showcasing the country's rich cultural diversity and unique historical trajectory. Conclusion: embracing the future by reviving the past. As the narrative of these hidden histories unspools, the importance of these ancient spiritual traditions becomes unequivocally clear. They are not merely relics of a bygone era, but are vibrant threads in the ongoing tapestry of Philippine culture. Embracing these traditions is thus not a step backward into a romanticized past, but a leap forward into a future where cultural identity and heritage are integral to national development. The journey of rediscovery and revival is complex and fraught with challenges, but it is also filled with hope and immense possibility. By weaving these forgotten spiritualities back into the fabric of Filipino identity, the Philippines can build a more cohesive and resilient society, one that truly represents the diverse and dynamic nature of its people. In conclusion, as the Philippines continues to navigate the intricacies of its cultural past and present, the enduring spirits of the land whisper a compelling call to action to honor, preserve, and celebrate the full spectrum of its spiritual heritage. This commitment to cultural reclamation not only enriches the national narrative, but also enhances the collective well-being and unity of its people. As we reflect on the journey we've embarked upon together through this video, we see not just the past, but the vibrant potential of the future. It's clear that the spirit of the Philippines is as enduring as it is diverse, and it's calling for guardians who are ready to embrace and preserve the richness of its cultural and spiritual heritage. Today, we extend an invitation to each of you watching. Become an advocate for the preservation of the Philippines' ancient traditions. Whether you're Filipino or an international friend, your support can make a world of difference. Visit our website to discover how you can contribute to safeguarding these traditions through education, advocacy, and direct action. Engage with communities, participate in events, and spread the word. Together, we can ensure that these precious cultural treasures are not lost to time, but are celebrated and passed on to future generations. Your involvement can help weave these ancient threads into the modern fabric of Filipino society, strengthening the nation's identity and unity. Join us in this crucial mission to keep the heritage of the Philippines alive and thriving. Visit our website now to learn more and get involved in this noble cause. Let's make history together by preserving it.